Welcome to the Killshot MMA podcast. It's UFC 316, Dvalishvili O'Malley 2, Pena Harrison, 2 titles on the line. We're going to talk DraftKings. Going to break down all 13 fights on this card. DraftKings dragged their asses for us here early in the week, but we do have salaries barely for all 13 fights. Going to break it all down, throw out some bets as well. Make sure you hit the like button, share with your friends. I'm Sniper. With me, as always, is Monk. Monk, we got some big money up top this weekend. You ready to attack this card?
Absolutely, especially after last week. I mean, we had some ups and downs. Big kill shot from Alice Ardeline. That felt real nice. So I'm ready to keep it.
Last week was no es bueno for me. So look to bounce back on it with a pay-per-view card. And I'm pretty chalky other than I need upsets to start the night, and then I need a bunch of chalk. But we're going to talk through some other strategies, other things to point out while we pull up the card here. Make sure you join us in DFS Army. You get projections, a lineup builder, notes from 4 different coaches, updates and changes as the week goes on. As we saw last week, it's going to happen plenty. We'll pivot plays. We'll talk ownership, all the good stuff in the Discord. In addition to those tools, make sure you sign up. Link in the bio, in the description on YouTube. Make sure you check that out. If you're watching anywhere else, make sure you like and share with your friends. And now that I've said that, I think enough times, and hopefully you've done it, let's bring up the card here. And Monk, as always, honor goes to you, top or bottom.
Well, we can't start with 2 title fights. We got to make them wait for the pay-per-views.
I'm waiting for the week you actually want to start with the top of the card.
It's never gonna. I just keep saying finding different ways to say we're starting at the bottom.
All right. You lame. All right. Well, let's talk about it. We got Chaos Williams, Andreas Gustafsson Berg, whose name I seem to keep saying in the last 2 months. His fight gets canceled and he rebooks.
Yeah.
No fault of his own. Dude can't catch a break right now. He is -2. Chaos Williams is -205. Berg is +175, or Gustafsson, I should say, is where he has on most sites. Under 2.5 rounds, -175. Inside the distance, -250. Looking at on paper, a pretty good GPP fight. Your DraftKings salaries for this one: Chaos Williams is 8,700. Gustafsson is 7,500. Monk, who you got?
Well, I'm going to start off with an underdog pick here. Obviously, this is a GPP fight. You're going to want to play some of Chaos Williams, obviously. But he's relatively one-dimensional, and he has 0 striking defense. That's the issue. He's thrown like 2 takedowns in 9 fights. He does get control time. So in control time positions, he's actually leading his opponents 73% to 27. But other than that, man, I mean, he lands 5.3. He gets hit with over 5. He's got a 38% accuracy and a 43% striking defense. And Gustafsson, while, I am picking him to win, he just looks well-rounded. I like these guys. Sometimes we get DWCS guys that are, one-dimensional or haven't shown a lot.
And $9,500 -500 favorites, by the way.
Yeah. This dude, Gustafsson, I mean, I'm not saying compare him directly, but other prospects like Mansour Abdul Malik or Yadier Del Valle a couple weeks ago, all 3 guys showed very well-rounded skills in the DWCS. Even if it's one fight, we've got a few takedowns, control time, and a ton of strikes landed. And in this case, plus a knockout. So I like seeing all 4 or 5 tools out of these DWCS guys. And Chaos Williams has god-awful defense. So I'm picking Gustafsson straight up. And I'll play both sides, but I'll be heavier on the underdog here.
Yeah, I'm with you. Kind of same thing. I definitely was going to try and get overweight to both guys, though. This is a mid-range fight we want to target. Some of the other fights we want to target, the salaries are a little bit skewed. I am also going to side with Gustafsson for all the reasons you mentioned. Williams is questionable defense. We know what he is at this point. Gustafsson is a young athletic prospect. He can also mix in some grappling, which is another path to victory. I think he's got all the paths there. And it kind of depends how popular Williams gets. I do think Gustafsson, I actually don't think this qualifies as a kill shot at the end of the show. I think he's going to be pretty chalky. I think this is a chalky dog pick we're looking at here. But in this case, it's chalk I'm going to eat. GPP pick only, not playing any cash games, but also give me Andreas Gustafsson Berg. Let's go and let's talk about Markel Mederos and Mark Choinski. Chonk. I'm just gonna call him Chonk because I feel it's not his nickname, but it should be.
It should. The Chonk. I like it.
Mederos is the favorite at -210. Okay. Choinski is +180. Fight goes to decision -165. So expected to see 3 rounds of action in this one. DraftKings salary. This was the latest ad. I believe it's 8,700 and 7,500 are the two price points here. If not, it's right around there. Is that right, Monk?
I don't remember. I know Chaos and Gustafsson are those two, so I think it might be 89.
Oh, so it is 89. Then it is 8,900. Yep. Mederos is 8,900. Choinski is 7,300. Monk, what you got?
Well, last week I tried to, amp up or pick Markel Mederos with some reasons why. I thought his defense would slow down Oki, and Oki didn't offer much of a takedown threat. But yeah, I still think he has good defense, but I'm not picking him at these prices whatsoever. And Choinski, definitely wrestling background, 5 pro subs, 1 knockout in his 8 wins. So obviously he's looking to wrestle, he's looking to grapple, and hopefully get a submission. So as long as he's not doing too much dumb stuff, like Mederos hasn't really shown any, sense of urgency towards a finish. And specifically in the Austin Hubbard fight, he got taken down twice and controlled for 7.5 minutes. Somehow the judges gave him that fight. I don't really understand it, even on paper, but whatever. As long as Choinski isn't, just throwing himself into Mederos' fists, which aren't very many, 3.75 a minute, I'm going to take the risk on the dog here, go 2 dogs in a row, and I'll pick Choinski straight up. And I think he probably has the higher DraftKings ceiling, to be honest, in a win.
Absolutely. I'm with you here. I don't like that we've agreed on 2 dogs back to back. And then I think I'm about to go chalk the rest of the way with a couple throw-ins, but we'll talk about him. I think I do have some contrarian GPP takes on some of the favorites that are out there, but regardless,
for sure.
We're gonna go Choinski as the pick here. Likes to wants to grapple. Yes. I was waiting for you to say Mederos has got 85% takedown defense, and I was going to say, well, Hubbard took him down twice, and look who he fought. Like, let's
exactly.
Numbers a bit deceiving here. I think Choinski. It's hard to tell on the. I can't fade Mederos. I will be underweight, but you can't fade him because we really don't know Choinski on short notice. Looks like a grappler, not high level of competition. If he goes in and gets sparked, it's not going to totally surprise me. It's not what I'm thinking is going to happen, obviously. But when you're building 150 lineups, I have other places I want to fade where I would be totally stunned if the person ends up on the optimal. This wouldn't stun me, but I'm with you. I'm on Choinski as the pick. I think he's the better DK play. And I'll also say he is viable for cash games at that goes to decision prop and a cheap price.
For sure.
I don't think he's a top level cash game punt. If he's the last man in, sure. I think there's a couple other punts I like better, but Choinski is firmly in the mix. Whereas there's other guys, I'm just no thank you. Like, for example, before we go too far, just in that, plowing through, if you play Sergei in cash, you can go ahead and fuck yourself. If you're going to play Brenson Ribeiro in cash, I don't think you understand cash games. Things quite like that. So
yeah,
he's in the mix. And I would even say this next fight where I think Ashmuz, who we'll talk about, I don't want to get too far ahead, even though it's next up. He's clearly a live dog. He's not a cash game viable dog because the floor is 0.5 points.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, that is the segue to Quillen Salkilld and Yanal Ashmuz. Salkilld -450. A lot of fighters up in this -500 range on this card. Ashmuz, the comeback is +350. Fight goes to decision -145. I'm a little surprised there, honestly, the way we've seen Ashmuz fight, but I get it because Salkilld's the favorite and how we've seen him fight. Regardless, -145 to see all 3 rounds is the number we are looking at. Your DraftKings salaries. Salkilld is 9,400 and Ashmuz is 6,800. You may say, man, that seems expensive. There's actually 3 fighters more expensive than Quillen Salkilld. So yes, he's pricey, but he's not cost prohibitive because you got to really pay up if you want to get your hands on Kayla Harrison. Who is it? Kayla Harrison, Azamat Murzakanov or whoever the hell Sergei is fighting. Monk, you're up. I'm just gonna kick it to you this week. I kind of like the pattern we got into a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm down.
Catch my breath after introing, and people probably like hearing you talk more anyway.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what the guy who's always in our comments telling us about forgiveness says. Give us your opinion. Who do you want us to talk first?
I was waiting for I want to know if this person. Listen, if that's you, can you just say yes? I watched the whole episode, and also Jesus saves.
Yeah, exactly.
All he comments every week is Jesus saves, and we say it.
I give it a thumbs up, and also there we go. That's all we need to know.
But tell me who Jesus is going to save in the main event.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. I picked Quillen Salkilld, but I'm not too confident. In fact, the two of the three people you named above him, I'd probably rather play. But he obviously has a chance to completely go off. Who did he fight? He fought Angel Jubilee, and then Ashmuz is fighting, Sam Patterson and Trevor Peek. None of those guys are like great competition. The Chris Duncan win or loss
isn't aging bad, is it? Isn't that win aging pretty well?
It's not terrible. I mean, he did beat him. He beat him in like a minute. Chris Duncan, I know he broke his wrist or something in that fight. He was
Patterson is 3-1 in the UFC.
Who's he fought? I can't see that far.
He starched Danny Barlow, who's my huge kill shot that week.
Nice.
I was like, he's gonna wrestle fuck him, and then he knocked Sam, and then he knocked Danny Barlow out cold. I went, well, I cashed the bet. That's not what I thought was gonna happen, but sure.
Yeah. Introduced his left hand to God for sure, because he was dead after that one. So yeah, that was nice. And the Trevor Peek win is nice. I don't value Trevor Peek as a fighter overall a ton, but it was still nice. Chris Duncan, it is what it is. I mean, he broke his wrist, but Chris Duncan broke his wrist. He didn't just like break it randomly. And it's toughness is good, but judges don't give a shit about toughness. So
I promise I'm not going to step on you the whole time you go first, but just quality of competition. Did you see what I brought up? I clicked over to Salkilld. It could be where you're going next. This may be in your rankings, the strength of schedule of Quillen Salkilld. This is the worst I've ever seen.
It's a 7 out of 99. It's bad.
Those may be the two worst names I've seen.
Yeah, Gage Young. I think he just fought somebody in the UFC. I don't remember who, but I know he didn't win.
He's the guy who couldn't stay conscious. No, not him. I'm thinking of Shane Young.
Yeah, Shane.
All right, that's who I was thinking.
I don't remember who Gage Young fought, but he didn't win. And then Jubilee. I mean, is he the guy that lost? Bad. Is he the guy that lost to fucking Money? What's his name? Money Mike, when he was barking at him or something? I don't remember. Was that Jubilee? I don't remember. Either way, you're totally right.
You're right. Yeah. That was the Mike Burdine fight where Burdine
Money Mike,
You're right.
He started barking at him, and Jubilee was so confused he like forgot how to fight. So he was winning the whole fight until then. Really funny.
Oh God.
Just so stupid. Really stupid.
Can you the next is when is Jubilee? Is Jubilee not fighting? I want whoever he fights again to start barking at him. That's all I want. Every time he fights.
That's the path to victory. Then we'll see who has who really has the dog in him, as everybody likes to say. But yeah, I picked Salkilld. He's got the huge volume. He's got the power. He landed 9 takedowns against a terrible fighter, which is fine. Ashmuz, not quite that volume. And sorry, I haven't done a ton of drugs. When you're my age, nose hairs are a problem. So obviously I haven't taken groomed properly. So that's why I keep doing this. But yeah, yeah, that's just my excuse. I mean, if you look at me, if you don't think I have nose hair, that's on you. Ashmuz also landed 9 of 18 takedowns against an okay to not good opponent. So these guys are pretty evenly matched as far as grappling goes. I think Ashmuz is very tough. He's durable. So yeah, this is a show me fight, and I don't know that Quillen. I mean, you got to play both sides in GPPs. One of these guys is probably, well, not probably. One of them could go to sleep, or they could just wrestle each other for 15 full minutes, and we don't really get much. So I prefer Ashmuz for DraftKings, but like you said, his ceiling could be 0, and Salkild's ceiling could, or floor, I mean, and Salkild's floor could be, 10, 15 points. So definite GPP fight. I do favor the favorite for now. This fight's going to tell me a lot about both guys.
Yeah, I'm kind of, again, God, I hate when we agree so much. It's starting to drive me crazy here. But I'm with you. I think Salkilld is better. But the inside the distance prop compared to who's around him immediately makes me think, well, listen, I want to play some Salkilld, but again, up in that range, you got Kayla Harrison, Murzakanov, Sergei's opponent. All I need to hear. Josh Van. I know we're not the same page in Joe Pyfer, but up at 9K, then I don't want to play, Wang Kong and Joe Pyfer, who we're going to talk about. But then right below that, you got Marab still at 9K. So there's a lot in 9K and above this week. And for me, Salkilld is just not quite making the cut. I'll be underweight, and I think I'm going to be over on Ashmuz because, he can grapple. He's got big power. I don't think Salkilld is that good, but I like you said, it's a show me fight. This is kind of a calculated risk. It's going to depend on how high you are on Salkilld. And I realize I'm maybe not giving you enough. You're listening, like, what do you think? You kind of playing both sides. Oh, I'm here for drafting strategy. To get gun to my head, I don't think Salkilld makes the optimal. And that's all I really care about.
Agreed.
But, confidence level of that, I don't know, 6 out of 10?
Agreed. And it's the competition that Murzakanov's fighting and Jusang Yu is fighting, to a point. That's kind of why I agree with you there.
So calculated risk, that's what this game is. And now we are going to shift over to the aforementioned Azamat Murzakanov and Brenson Ribeiro. Murzakanov, minus 500, that magic number. We saw a bunch. Come back on Ribeiro, about plus 375. Key number, guys, listen up. Fight ends at a distance, minus 800. Fight ends under 1.5 rounds, minus 160. Murzakanov inside the distance, minus 350.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's wild.
That's the one I saw that I was like, wait, what?
DraftKings salaries, Murzakanov 9,600. Not the most expensive fighter on the card. Ribeiro is 6,600. And just real quick, you want to, before Monk gets into his breakdown, we can see that. Trying to pull up. There we go. Murzakanov has got 4 UFC fights in a contender series and 4 knockouts. The one person he didn't knock out was Dustin Jacoby, who's dirt tough, and he did knock him down in that fight. Brenson Ribeiro, on the other hand, 2-2 in the UFC, plus a contender series win. Also 3 finishes, 2 decisions. His decisions, by the way, a grappling fest to Magomed Gadzhiasalov, and the win over Kyle Machado is, at the time I thought that was going to age better than it has. That was, I was a little higher on Kyle Machado than a loss to Mick Parker and a loss to Dontel Mays. And yeah, so I'm pretty disappointed here. So 2 guys, pedigree for finishes, especially the favorite of Murzakanov. Monk, where you going?
I'm just double checking something here. Yeah, he lost that one to Gadzhizulov. It was a terrible fight.
8 takedowns between them, though.
Yeah. Well, Gadzhizulov was supposed to come out and just like ragdoll this dude, and then it turned into like no one even landed. I mean, there was like 40 strikes between them in 15 minutes. It was just real bad. Majority decision. That's how bad it was. Yeah, I'm going Murzakanov here, like you said. 5 knockdowns in 5 fights, even against Dustin Jacoby, didn't get the finish, but he outstruck the kickboxer and, forced Jacoby to attempt 6 takedowns and go for control time, which is not really in Jacoby's wheelhouse for sure. Mm-hmm. So I love this one. The minus 275 Murzakanov KO prop is also the one that blew my mind. I don't know when the last time is I saw a KO prop at minus 275, but it's probably deserved. I mean, Ribeiro does have power. He also has terrible defense, especially at distance. Body has no takedown defense. Not that we're probably going to see a ton of that here.
I wouldn't think so, but who knows?
Yeah, not at all. Neither guy can, controls majority of their fights. Yeah, but Murzakanov, he starts slow, 4 strikes a minute, 5.5 in the second, and if it gets this far, 7 strikes a minute in round 3s, which he's had 7 minutes of. I mean, Ribeiro is the complete opposite. Lands 4.7 in the first, 1.9 in the second, and 2.2 in the third. So pretty much round 1 or bust there. I am all over Murzakanov this week. I love him in all formats, and I would honestly be shocked if Ribeiro got out of the first round and a half. So I'm going pretty heavy on Murzakanov. I think he gets this done early, and hopefully 11, 12x is his salary. Maybe we get lucky and Ribeiro, gets up after the first knockdown and we get another one.
Yeah, it's again, this fight was closer than it should have been in the Gaziasilov. I think that's a pretty good performance for him. Zhang Minyang is a fucking problem. It's a random Chinese guy at light heavyweight. You're like, who the fuck is that? He's this dude. This dude's gonna be in the top 15.
Especially if they keep feeding him low level guys / retiring guys.
Yeah, well, I know we got Anthony Smith, but he's a problem. Whoever opponent aside, that's why he's gonna be up there. And Azamat, there's something about Azamat Murzakanov where he's probably going to win, and I want a bunch of them, but I'm going to run back into the distance number. Like Brenson Ribeiro on this card, he feels like to me the guy who could shit in the punch bowl and break this slate in a way where you're like, what the fuck happened? To me, and it's not going to take a lot for you to get over the field. Everyone's going to play Azamat. No one's going to be on Ribeiro. It is a high variance card. I think when Murzakanov loses, he's going to get clipped and put down because he can be reckless. And Ribeiro does have power. Let me be clear when I say this. I am picking Azamat Murzakanov. He is the better play. He is the better fighter. I will be overweight to him in GPPs, but I will also be overweight to Brenton Ribeiro. I don't think it'll take much to get there. I think he's more alive than the line would indicate. And it's one of those where if I'm wrong, he's going to be unconscious. People are going to be like, well, see, he wasn't live at all. No, it's a high variance type of fight. There's a couple of those on the card. I think there's a couple holes on Murzakanov's side. Ribeiro probably isn't the guy to crack him, but if 15% is going to get me double the field, sign me up. And
I'd be remiss to mention there's a 10-inch reach advantage for Ribeiro and a 5-inch height advantage. So not saying that's end all be all.
Murzakanov closes a little recklessly at times because he's like, I could knock fucking anybody out, and he can, but it can make you a little reckless. So all that's being said is that I'm going to try and go over on both guys. And it's probably a hot take for me to say I probably don't play Murzakanov in cash games because he's 9,600 and Kayla Harrison feels a little safer with 2 extra rounds of potential grappling. Like look, Murzakanov's ceiling's probably a little higher even with 3 rounds, but I feel like this is a more high variant fight than the co-main event where I'm like, I could just pencil in Kayla Harrison for 90 to 100 and the 120, 130 is there just like Murzakanov. Like it feels a little safer. Disagree, but that's and you can't play both in this card. I don't think you can slam both of them in. It makes the rest of your lineup a little too gross. So I'd prefer Harrison. Let's move on to Yeka Sergei and just the guy he's fighting. All right, I should stop saying that. In all seriousness, it is Ju saying you monk, you're minus 450. Sergei is plus 350. Fight ends inside the distance, minus 200 because it is Yeka Sergei fight. So again, you need to consider Jang Sung Yu. Your salaries, why it gets difficult, is he's 9,500. He's 100 less than Azamat. Meanwhile, the comeback on Sergei is 6,700. Monk, now that I set this up, are you going to go ahead and take Yeka Sergei?
Hell no. There's an unspoken rule, or unwritten anyways. Unwritten rule. If you lose to Weston Wilson in less than 2 minutes and you lose to a guy that lost to a barking guy, I'm not picking you ever. Ever. That's just the rule. It's in the book. Jusang Yu only 8 fights. I think all 3 newcomer, well, no, 2 of them, not Patchy, have 8 pro fights, but he's got 4 finishes, 4 decent decisions. And I don't know if this is true. It's just something I read on Twitter. I did no research on it, but he may or may not have trained with Max Holloway at one point. I don't know if somebody just said that because once he pointed at the ground. Yeah, I don't know.
And Don'Tale Mays trained with John Jones.
Yeah, That's just, well, hey, Dante Almays might have, retired John Jones basically with that shoulder injury. So who really knows? But yeah, there's not much to say. I mean, Jekka Sergei, he doesn't land hardly any strikes. He's got some power. He's attempted takedowns. I guess he's got one of them. But that's it. If you're losing to Weston Wilson and Jubilee, I'm not playing you. So yeah, give me Ju Sang Yu. He's probably, I think he looked good in some of his tapes. So I think he's probably good in all formats.
Agreed. I think he looks good in his tape. Jekka Sergei looks awful. The upside's there just based on the ITD number. You're going to have to make, what this comes down to is you're going to have to make choices in terms of how much can you fit in with Azamat, Kayla Harris, and some of the, Marab, some of the other 9K fighters. Based on that, I'd like to tell you I'm going to get overweight. I can't be overweight to everybody in 9K. I'm probably going to end up field weight. I'm going to try and get over, though, as I start playing with ownerships. And Jekka Sergei, I'm probably just going to hit the X button, and if he beats me, it's one of those, this is a spot I am going to fade. I am fading Jekka Sergei, because fuck you, buddy. And that's all I got to say about that, as Forrest Gump would say. Let's move on to a fight that is criminally underpositioned on this card. We talked about it last week. I think this is among one of my favorite fights on the card, probably.
Well, I think they moved the order around because I have a way different order than you have.
Yeah. I think this should be main. I think this next fight should be on the main card. It's Sergei Spivac, Waldo Cortez-Acosta. And it's not because Cortez-Acosta is a new heavyweight and he's kind of a point fighter. I know he recently got a finish, but in general, his style is not very high volume. Spivac is minus 135-ish. Comeback on Acosta is about plus 115. Heavyweights fight ends at the distance, minus 190. I'm a little surprised by that, quite honestly. It is the mid-range fight. Spivac is 8,300. Cortez-Acosta is 7,900. Monk, break down what I think are some interesting numbers there.
Yeah, good fight for DraftKings, I think. And while Waldo Cortez-Acosta is kind of a point fighter, he does have a few knockouts in the UFC, or at least TKOs in the UFC, 3 of them to be exact. Sergei's been over 2.5 rounds 3 times in the UFC. He's been under 10 times. Waldo's been over 5 of his 8 fights. So it's basically a 50-50 there. Yeah, I'm kind of confused at the minus 190. I think it should be a lot wider. In my opinion, either, Cortez-Acosta most likely knocks out Sergei Spivac because Spivac's been KO'd 4 times. I didn't mean most likely for the fight. I mean, that's his path to victory. Although a boring striking decision for him could be in the cards as well. But
because Acosta's finishes are against Ryan Spann, who was just a fat light heavyweight fighting in heavyweight, and Lukas Brzeski.
Right. Exactly. And then, but look at the Marcos Rogerio de Lima fight. Cortez-Acosta got taken down 3 times, controlled for 5 minutes, and got outstruck by a strike and a half per minute by Marcos Rogerio de Lima. He was completely, his game was totally neutralized there. And that's exactly what I think can happen with Sergei Spivac. He has poor striking defense for sure, but he's one of the best wrestlers, probably top 5 in the heavyweight division. There's an argument to be made. He's maybe a little better than that, but there are some decent wrestlers at the top of that division.
Yeah, I think Aspinall's a better wrestler.
Yeah, Aspinall, Almeida, Blades. There's one more in there.
Around there, though.
Yeah, he's for sure 4 or 5, I think. And yeah, I really like, he's got some power, but he is a really good wrestler and he knows how to submit people. That's exactly what Waldo Cortez-Acosta, where his holes are, in my opinion. The one fighter that's tried to really take him down was successful. I mean, other than that, Spann tried twice, but you said he's not a heavyweight. Other than that, Chase Sherman, yeah, he went pretty close with Chase Sherman. 15 minutes with Jared Vandera as well. So he's not really stuffing a ton of takedowns because no one's attempting them. Sergei Spivac will attempt them in the first round, and he will look to get the back and give Cortez-Acosta his first finish loss. So I'm picking Spivac. I like him in all formats. Probably not, okay, mostly GPPs, I should say, not all formats, but I really like him in GPPs. But I'm not fading Cortez-Acosta by any means because Spivac, like I said, has been TKO'd in 4 of his 5 UFC losses. So yeah, pretty good GPP fight. I'm surprised the fight ITD is not wider, but I'm picking Nosferatu here.
I'm not. I thought it to be closer, so maybe it's lined right because I think most of there's plenty of path for Spivac to control him on the ground and get a decision with grappling, and then there's plenty of path for Cortez-Acosta to just point fight him on the outside, keep distance, and win a decision. Like I think it should be closer. I while it's mid-range and heavyweight, I don't think this is an all-in fight because of those two examples. I think Spivac does have more DFS upside. Yeah. He's also, for the reasons you mentioned, I think who I'm going to pick to win the fight. I think the grappling does pay off here, and Cortez-Acosta does get caught up a little bit. Cortez-Acosta can keep it on the feet. He probably wins, and then he needs a finish, and I'm not convinced he gets it. I'm just not. So I think there's value in the go-to decision line. And I'll probably be over on Spivac, under on Cortez-Acosta. And that's how I'll approach this heavyweight showdown.
Yep.
Moving on now, we got Ariane Lipsky, Kong, Wang. Wang is minus 500. Ariane Lipsky or Da Silva, depending where you're looking at her listed, is plus 375. Looks like we get the over 2.5 round prop is minus 140. So it's going to be 50-50. To go all 3 rounds. Your DraftKings salaries. Kong Wang is expensive as fuck. She is 9,100. Da Silva Lipsky is 7,100. Monk, did you learn your lesson not to play Wang Kong at 9,100 minus 500? Did you? We learned yet?
I mean, I don't care about the minus 500. I would never bet that at all, ever. But I don't mind playing her in GPPs whatsoever. Even part of both sides, to be completely honest, because we've seen the holes in Wang Kong's game where she got submitted by Gabby Fernandez in the second round. And outside of some striking, that's about all Ariane Da Silva does. She doesn't land a ton of volume, around 4 strikes a minute pretty consistently. She is a very slick submission artist, jiu-jitsu person, but does not have hardly any takedowns. Outside of the third round, she has a little bit. That's where most of her takedowns and control time come from. Other than that, it's really kind of one-dimensional unless you take her to the ground and you let her, do her thing on the mat. So Wang Kong definitely needs to look out for that. I would not attempt to go to the ground with Ariane Da Silva because she has not great striking defense. I mean, she allows 4 strikes a minute. She's been knocked down. And let's see, in all 3 fights where KO TKOs have happened, she has lost. So 3 of her 7 UFC losses have been by KO TKO. One's been by submission. I wouldn't expect that really from Wang Kong, even though she's got 2 of them on her on her belt. But yeah, I'm gonna pick Wang Kong straight up to win, but I'm pretty skeptical about DraftKings. I'll play some in GPPs. I'm not touching this in cash whatsoever, either side, because Silva could get KO'd again. I mean, it's one thing if you get KO'd by Cachoeira, that's bad enough, but it was at bantamweight. I'm willing to make that, exception. But then before that, you get KO'd by Montana De La Rosa in your division as a flyweight, and someone named Shevchenko, whose first name is not Valentina. This girl's like a pilot now. So yeah, she's getting knocked out.
Fair, this was takedown pity pat. Like this was Montana De La Rosa grappling, but fair enough.
Yeah, it
wasn't like Montana landed an overhand right to put her out.
That's true, but she has been knocked down in the past. Who was it? I can't even tell now. It was Cachoeira. But yeah, so I'm taking Wang Kong, but I'm not guaranteeing that she's not going to make a mistake and get, win for 8 minutes like she did against Fernandez and then get subbed. So play a little of both sides in GPPs. Don't go crazy. I think I have this as a 3-star fight, but I'm picking Wang Kong for the win.
Yeah. Losses to Karine Silva and Jazz Davicius they mean nothing to me in this fight.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Wang Kong, hype prospect, 2-1 in the UFC. Has good volume, will go for takedowns. Get it. I can't play her at 9,100. And I lied earlier. This is a third dog I'm picking. I'm going to take Ariane Da Silva. This to me, this record, it just smells like fraud. It just does. Whereas Da Silva, I get she's got some questionable losses in here. She's been in the UFC for a long time. She's a solid KSW fighter. Tons of experience. Plenty violent. A win over Casey O'Neill, by the way. Like
that's
an arm
impressive.
that's an impressive win, and Melissa Gatto, okay. It's kind of hit or miss from there. So the one thing I will say, she lost to Molly McCann. That's bad. I when I watch her fight, her development or regression between fights is like marked. You don't, or maybe it's just jitters. I don't know. She's one of those fighters. I don't know what version of her is going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if the wins and losses are kind of what you expect, like it's just she shows up and you're like, that was the best I've ever seen her look. She'll show up and you go, who the fuck was that?
Yeah,
like
she is the
very
queen of
inconsistent.
Yeah, or else she's not the queen. You're right. It's very binary with her.
It's odd. I will say I can't play Kong Wang at that price at minus 500. I think the line is too wide for the reasons we went through. There's holes in Wang Kong's game. We've seen it. This is, I would argue this is her highest level of competition. Probably pretty consistent. Minus 500 just feels wide. Up in the 9Ks, no thanks. They have other options, and I'll take my shots, a couple shots on Ariane Da Silva to, I think, pull an upset that I don't think should surprise people. You lost at this price against Gabriela Fernandez. Ariane Lipsky, that's going to surprise you just as much. Now, maybe it was a blip, sure. 9,100, I'm not taking my chance. Give me Da Silva for the upset.
Yeah, even at 9,100, it's hilarious. She's 400 under her average salary.
So crazy. All right, let's go. The king of cardio, as I'm going to call him, Josh Van, taking on Bruno.
I thought you were jumping to the main event all of a sudden.
No, the king of cardio.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right.
That's fair. But Josh, you know what? Marab is just go, go, go. Josh Van, I don't know. I would love to see Van and Marab just spar for 20 rounds. See who gets tired first.
Shit.
That'd be fun. All right, it probably is Marab. I probably stand corrected, but Van's something that's impressive too. He's around minus 600 to 700. Comeback on Silva's plus 450. Your fight goes to decision is minus 125. So pretty much 50-50 there. Van is 9,300, so another expensive fighter. Silva is 6,900. Monk, who you got?
This is another. I think this one could very easily finish inside the distance. I know these guys don't have a ton of UFC finishes, but I'm right there with. I love Josh Van this week, and no, I'm not discounting Bruno Silva to nothing. I know he has power. We've seen it. He has a lot of power actually at flyweight, but Josh Van has probably the most impressive striking volume I've seen in recent memory, regardless of weight class, to be quite honest. Slow starter, you could classify him as 4.31 strikes a minute. So we're not talking about Cheeto Vera slow at like 2. We're doubling that. Then in round 2, it jumps 170% to 11.65 strikes a minute. Yeah, that's 7 round 2s, almost 35 minutes in round 2, and he's averaging 11.5 strikes a minute at 57% accuracy. That is mind-blowing. He's also controlling most of the grappling time in that round, I should say. And then round 6 does drop off, guys, to a lowly 8.49 strikes per minute. He's also landing takedowns, getting control time consistently in rounds 2 and 3. I don't know what he does in between round 1 and 2, but it's like somebody just turns him up to 11, like in Spinal Tap. Let me date myself. But yeah, it's Josh Van. I mean, Ray Saruya, what do you expect? I mean, he couldn't get a ton of striking off, but he still doubled Saruya's very low striking output. 11 per minute against Durden, 8 per minute against tough Shirez. His lone losses to Charles Johnson, which has aged very, very well. And he still landed 6.5 strikes per minute. That was just a war of attrition, to be quite honest. And I think Charles Johnson is pretty big for a flyweight. If I remember, he was probably a little bit bigger, a lot longer of a reach than Van. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I just like Josh Van a lot here. And Bruno Silva, while he does have power, does get outstruck, allows over 4 strikes a minute. And especially in that third round, I mean, in round 1 and 2, it's 3.1, 3.3. In round 3, he's giving up almost 8 strikes a minute, and that's 15 minutes of round 3. So, Josh Van has to stifle takedowns and watch out for the counter. Other than that, if he just lays the pressure on this dude like he always does, I think this is a really good spot at the salary, and I like him in all formats. Don't fade Bruno Silva in GPPs, but I'm not going to be real high on him.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm on the Van side. I think the pressure is really good. I will say because of that, it is also I meant to mention this is the widest I've seen. So well, this came down. It was minus 125 to go to decision. This was around minus 190, and it's still like some books
That's
minus
crazy
175 over 2.5 rounds. Like it's just that last 2.5 minutes, Vegas knows that Van is gonna bring the pressure, and that's how they're kind of seeing the fight play out. So that being said, I think that makes Silva a viable cash game punt at that price. He is super cheap. Of the fighters under 7K, I would say he's absolutely my preferred cash game punt here. I have to kind of toy with that versus De Silva and how high I am on her because she's 7,100. I think she's got more upside for a win based on the last breakdown. But Bruno's probably safer to score more points floor wise. So that's the conversation for cash games. GPPs. This one's a little bit difficult because do I want to play Ju Sang Yu and I got Kayla Harrison and Azamat and it kind of that he's probably he's in the middle or the upper middle. Really breaking things down. He's towards the top half of that 9K range. I'm going to try and get overweight there. I would probably let's do this because I feel like I'm waffling here. If I were to rank the 9K fighters for GPPs, I'm probably going to go personally Harrison, Murzakanov. I take it back. I'm going to go Marab, Harrison, Murzakanov, Yu, Van, Salkilld, Pyfer, Kong. So he's kind of right in the middle.
Yep, 100%.
That's a lot of 9K fighters this week. There's a lot to dissect up there. And yeah, his ownership when I start building is one of those, talk to me Discord, his ownership might get hurt a little bit because Silva's alive and there's some guys down in that range of the opponents I just mentioned that I don't even want to play at all. Because Silva, he didn't look bad against Cody Durden. Like he's not a bad fighter, where some of those guys in that 7K range are bad fighters. So that being said, I'm on Van. Silva's viable in all formats, and kind of this is one of those GPPs I'll be a little wishy-washy on.
Yeah, there is a 12-year age gap here, but one of the guys is 23, so I think that kind of balances out in experience versus, 35 is not old by any means, but there's a large gap here, but I think it kind of balances.
All right, let's talk about the most overrated fight on this card. I'm sorry. Everyone's like, I get Patchy Mix. I get it. Bellator champ. I get it. I'm just not that excited, but I guess whatever. I think I'm in the minority, so leave me the hate comments, drive up the algorithm. Patchy Mix taking on Mario Bautista. Mix is minus 180. Bautista is plus 155. Fight goes to decision is minus 150. So even if you're excited about Patchy Mix, it doesn't really spell good DraftKings scoring here at all. Mix is 8,500. Bautista is 7,700. Monk, who you got?
Yeah, well, I'll share the hate with you because Patchy Mix is probably very good, right? I mean, he is very good, not probably. But for half the people I've seen online to be like, the one true the best bantamweight in the world is now in the UFC. It's like, what in the fuck are you smoking? Like, honestly,
it's like the cool trendy thing to do.
I'm so sick of it. It's insanity. Like, oh, so the best guy in the world was just chilling in Bellator the whole time. Yeah, sounds good. He's got one path to victory here, and that is to A, not get punched, and B, get Mario Bautista down and choke him out. So Bautista has been subbed once in the UFC. Let's see who, I forget off the top of my head. It was nope, I don't know. It's not in his last 10, so I don't even know. But he's got extremely good striking, 5.33 strikes a minute. He does get hit a bit too much, but I'm not worried about that with Patchy Mix. And honestly, my dream, actually, before I do that, Bautista averages 3.8 in the first and then doubles that in the second to 6.3 basically, and then up again 7.2 in the third round. So he is improving his takedowns, his control time, and his striking volume in every single round consistently. And yeah, as long as he can avoid takedowns, I don't see what Patchy Mix is really going to do. Does he even have good takedowns? I'm not sure about that. Bautista doesn't have great takedown defense on paper at 66%. But my dream, my perfect fight here is Mario Bautista holds Patchy Mix against the cage and pisses everyone off. The amount of hate, like sheer hate for Mario Bautista for winning a fight against a legend, it's I've never seen it before, not even with Bilal, and I don't understand it. Like, oh, I've seen people calling him a coward for the way he fought against Jose Aldo. Well, Jose Aldo's, the best, right? He's one of the best featherweight possibly of all time. How many fights does he have? He never learned how to get off of a cage. Like, make him not hold you against the cage. Like, that's
it's mixed martial arts. It's mixed martial arts. I hate those fucking people who hate wrestling too. If you hate grappling and clinching, go watch boxing,
kickboxing or boxing. Yeah, just fucking crotch sniffer, dude. It's wrestling. That is a third at least of MMA, if not more than that. Like, get the fuck out of here with these takes.
Can it go too far? Sure. There's plenty of lay and pray boring fights. Can agree.
Oh yeah.
But the second somebody shoots a take, like he's a coward. Well, what the
fuck? No. Boo. It's like, all right, you paid all this money to watch the pay-per-view just so you could boo. Like, cool. Oh, no one's getting knocked out. You're a fucking caveman, bro. Find a different sport. On top of that, Bautista controls 70% of the grappling time he's involved in, so he's not a novice off his back or on the ground whatsoever. I think he's the much more well-rounded fighter. And outside of, the one Patchy Mix path to victory, I think I'm picking Bautista straight up. And I don't know about how much I'm going to play him in DraftKings. It's not like he scores well, especially if he fights the fight he needs to fight. What did he put up against Jose Aldo? Is probably 70 points. So I'm not looking for that. I mean, he's not even 10xing his score at that point. But yeah, if he can avoid the submission, I don't think Patchy has very good striking. I don't think he likes to get hit a lot. I don't think he does get hit a lot. And if Mario Bautista can do that, then I think we're good. Stay at distance. And yeah, I love Bautista this week. I'll play some of Patchy Mix, but if he doesn't sub him in the first round, how is he going to pay off his score? That seems like an impossibility.
Minus 150 to go to decision. I don't know. I think Patchy's a little bit better on his feet than you're giving him credit for. I think he'll be able to control some of those grappling scenarios, those clinch scenarios, like Aldo for whatever reason couldn't. Bautista's good. I think his fight probably should be lined a little bit closer. I think Mix is a little bit overvalued, but I do think he is better. He's where I'm going to go with this, and this is a fight I'm probably taking a risk on, and this is not what I like for GPPs. I would also say, well, I like Spivac more. This is weird because when you're playing cash games, there's not a lot in the mid-range to like. I'm on the other side as you. I think Patchy is fine for cash games. I do think he wins. I think he grapples a little. I think he's relatively safe. I don't see Bautista getting this done. But my overall take is in GPPs. I'm not sure either one of them make the optimal. But I am, while I do think Patchy is overhyped, I think he's got enough for Bautista here.
And yeah, I'm willing to walk back what I said if he shows me otherwise, for sure.
So we can just disagree there. I think he's got enough here. I think he's gonna, when he runs into that next level in the UFC, that's where I think he gets exposed. I don't think he's quite yet.
And if he beats Bautista, he should fight for the title. You guys are fucking delusional. Fuck Corey Sandhagen, right? Yeah,
it has to be Sandhagen next. It has to be Sandhagen.
It has to.
You know what? If Patchy wins this fight, give me Umar against Patchy.
At the highest. That's the highest possible guy he should be fighting if he beats Mario. Especially since Mario Bautista's a coward and terrible. Why does beating a coward and a terrible fighter give you a championship shot? Like, use some thoughts.
You can't listen, people. People don't think. So overall, I don't think it's great for DraftKings, but because of the pricing, I think Patchy's all right. And where I'm going to go personally, Monk likes the other side. This fight, this is fantastic matchmaking. I don't know, Mick Maynard, Sean Shelby, whoever looked at the board and said Kevin Holland, Vicente Luque is earning their money, because this is a fantastic fucking fight. Holland's minus 280. Luque is plus 240. Fight and inside the distance is minus 260. Your DraftKings salaries for this one. Holland is 8,800. Luque is at 7,400. Monk, who you got?
I mean, this seems like if you're trying to get to 9K fighters, you probably should get Vicente Luque into some of your lineups here. Yeah, exactly. I made a joke on Twitter earlier that Kevin Holland's going to win every minute, then put himself into a Darce choke, and that those odds are plus 185 because that's exactly what he does. He does everything he's not supposed to do. I love Kevin Holland. I really do. But the decisions he makes in the cage, in what am I trying to say? In very important moments, are more than questionable. I just don't understand. He grapples when he shouldn't. He puts himself in stuff when he shouldn't. He strikes when he should be laying and ground and pounding. I just don't understand it, man. The stats here are
dodge.
Yeah, exactly. The stats for striking are both very good. But Luque's are a bit better. He lands over 5 strikes a minute, but he does get hit way too much. He gets hit more than he lands. And his striking defense is not great. Now he does balance that out with Holland a little bit because Holland has pretty much no takedown or control defense, and Luque's offense is okay in that category. I am a bit worried since the Jeff Neal whole brain bleed situation, but since then he's beat RDA, very good win, even at 38 years old. I think that's a decent win. And he subbed the hottest prospect in the weight class, Temba Garimbo, in less than 1 minute. Put him to sleep, actually. So that was pretty good. And his only loss since then is soon to be title contender Joaquin Buckley. So other than that, it's Jeff Neal, it's Bilal Muhammad, and it's Wonder Boy. I mean, this dude beat Randy Brown. Yes, Randy Brown wasn't the Randy Brown of today back in 2020, but he's doing what he's supposed to do. He shows flashes of very good striking overall. First round, second round, third round, all over 5 strikes a minute. He's landing takedowns and control time. Like I said, he does get hit a little too much, but since he's fighting Kevin Holland, Holland's probably going to try to grapple with him, and he might get his neck choked up. So, yeah, I think this is a great one for GPPs. I think someone is going to score well. I'm going to go out on a limb and pick another underdog on the main card, and I'll pick Vicente Luque straight up. I love him in all formats at $7,400 specifically, and I think Kevin Holland is a fine GPP play.
Look, I'm going to be overweight on both guys here. Yeah. This is a fight that I love. I'm on the Holland side. I think that Luque is going to have a hard time closing the distance here. Holland's length and striking, I think, is a little bit better. Luque's getting a little bit fight older at this point. I think Holland's reach and striking will be the difference here. He could, just like you said, do something silly, get himself caught. I think, to me, I'm overweight to both guys. I'm on the Holland side. I have a sneaky feeling that he's going to Darce choke Vicente Luque.
And that could happen. Yes, that could happen.
I think he's going to land a big strike. Luque is going to shoot a sloppy takedown. We've seen Holland hit plenty of Darces himself, and everyone's talking Luque by Darce. It's just one of those things. I feel like let's go the other way. What's Holland by Darce? Regardless, don't play it in cash. Play it in GPP. Overweight to both guys. I'm on Holland. Monk's on Luque. Pick your poison. Either way, that fight's not going to beat me.
It's going to be a good fight. Very good matchmaking, like you said.
All right, let's talk about this fight again. Joe, I like the water in Mexico. Pyfer taking on Kelvin Gastelum. Pyfer's minus 400. Gastelum's plus 310. Fight ends at the distance is minus 120, but over 2.5 rounds is minus 145. So I guess Vegas is calling for the finish in the last 2.5 minutes of round 3. If you want to narrow it down really specifically, your salaries. Pyfer is 9,200. Gastelum is 7,000. Monk, you want to give your take on this again?
Yeah, I'll keep it short. My take did not change. I'm on Kelvin Gastelum for the upside here at the low price. Outside of a first round, finish, early second round finish, I don't really see how Pyfer does enough to pay off his relatively high salary, in my opinion. I know he is $100 cheaper than he was last time, I think. But that doesn't, I'm not swayed by that. Gastelum has been subbed 3 times as a pro, all 3 times in the UFC. Pyfer does have a couple of subs on his record, but most of his finishes, 75% of them, are KO, TKOs, and Kelvin Gastelum's has yet to be finished. Yeah, I mean, I just think I'm not comparing him to Bo Nickel by any means, but especially after that Hermanson loss, I'm not ready to say that Joe Pyfer is can even has the cardio to go more than 7 minutes. That's about how long he went with Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Every other fight in the UFC has been first round. So Kelvin Gastelum likely to not get finished in the first round. I mean, the guys he's lost to, Israel Adesanya, Darren Till, the aforementioned Jack Hermanson, and then Robert Whitaker, Jared Cannonier, Sean Brady, who's probably going to fight for a title soon. These are very, very good guys. He's beaten D-Rod, Chris Curtis. I mean, those aren't the best wins, but I think they're all better than Marc-Andre Barrio and Razak Al Hassan and Mearshart and probably even Alan Amadovsky. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Kelvin Gastelum here. I know he's a 13-9 guy in the UFC, but in 3-round middleweight fights, he is 7-2. And I'm not convinced Joe Pyfer has that cardio. So, unfortunately for us, last time Kelvin Gastelum was in Mexico for like 5 or 6 weeks, he was fucking ready to go. Joe Pyfer got there 10 days early and then drank the water and probably had altitude sickness and pulled out. This time we're in Joe Pyfer's hometown, so that's not great for Kelvin Gastelum. But yeah, I just think he's very tough, very durable. He is hittable, but he has yet to be knocked out. Give me Gastelum.
Yeah, by the way, anybody watching the screen here, I'm on Gastelum. This right here, this was my first live UFC event, Gastelum versus Weidman here nice. On Long Island. This was a trip down memory lane. Like look how old this card is. It was Chase Sherman was on this card. Again, Alex Oliveira did one of the most disgusting things they've ever seen to Ryan LaFleur. The sound of that knockout, in that building, I'll never forget it. A Shane Burgos 3 knockdown fight against Godofredo Pepe, who was running triangles. It's one of you never forget your first UFC event. Again, Jean Vellante. This was hilarious because we were in Long Island and there were some whores yelling for Vellante. like
who did he fight in that
one? That was Patrick Cummins, who also. Okay. That was an experience. So anyway, I digress. In terms of this fight, and really, it's okay if I do this with because we talked about this once before. My stance on Pyfer has softened a little bit for all the reasons you mentioned. I've heard not great things about how his training camp is going. Not to mention him as a person, which always makes me want to root against him. Look into the rumors yourself. I won't do it here.
Well, plus just what he says on the show. He's like ridiculous on Ariel's show a couple weeks ago. He just sounds like a jackass.
He is all around. The quality competition is a concern, especially if Gastelum got out of the first round. Just Pyfer's size and speed here. On paper, he should be better. I'm going to pick him, but I solidly mixing in Gastelum as a GPP dog for sure. A Gastelum win will probably help my lineup. So I'm probably going to try and get overweight to Gastelum in this spot and probably field the Pyfer. But in terms of a straight pick for betting wise, I can't quite pull the trigger on Kelvin Gastelum.
This line got crazy. I added lines in yesterday morning or yesterday night, and I changed it. It was like minus 295 or around 300 for Pyfer. Now it's 50 cents more at 355.
I wonder if somebody
probably higher than that even now.
I wonder if Gastelum smashing tacos and that pull out is going to really help Pyfer.
He's like, oh, I drank the water in New Jersey. I'm fucked up. That would actually be hilarious.
Speaking of smashing tacos, Juliana Pena, Kayla Harrison.
That was a quality segue.
I gotta clip that.
Yeah, that was real nice.
We got Kayla Harrison 18-1. Juliana Pena 13-5. Odds here: Harrison's minus 800, Pena's plus 550. Probably the worst UFC bantamweight champion in history. I know she beat Raquel Pennington, kind of, but I'm going to give the edge to Rocky over Pena, even with the head-to-head being where it is. Fight ends at the distance is minus 210. Your salaries are fucked up and wide. Harrison's the most expensive fighter on the card at 9,700. Pena 6,500. Monk, how do we attack this?
Well, let me just say that Pena is the only person to ever win at $6,500 salary. There's been like less than 5 of them, I think, maybe more at this point. but I still think she's the only one that's won. That said, yeah, no, I'm on, and I really want to see what the scales look like on Friday, because this is a brutal weight cut for Harrison. I mean, people are saying that this not only takes time off of her career, but also probably off the longevity of her actual life, what she's doing to herself to make this weight. So that is risky for sure. That said, there's no way I'm picking Pena at all. Never would I pick her in this situation. She has a 23% takedown defense, guys. 23%. She controls less than 50% of the grappling time she's involved in. She lands like 3 strikes a minute, and she just walks forward. I can never stop watching her walking forward and eating that right hand from Nunes. That was better than the Stipe and was it Fabricio or not Vitor Belt? One of them. I don't remember which one.
Stipe Verdum.
Verdum, yeah, he's walking backwards and just, I mean, it was great. I cannot get enough of that. So yeah, for those reasons alone, like I'm definitely on on Harrison. I don't know. Yes, that was not a Freudian slip. That was just a mistake. I don't know how Harrison scores. That's the problem. She's 9,800. If she doesn't land like 5 or 6 takedowns and a shitload of control time and ground and pound, I don't know if she doesn't finish. I don't know that this pays off. I mean, Ketlin Vieta, very good at stuffing takedowns. She scored like 80 some points in that fight, and she was a lot of money, $9,800. Yeah, she scored 84 in that one. Against Holly Holm, it was over in 2 minutes, or 6 minutes rather, second round. She scored 112 at 93, so that probably paid off. I think, did she make the optimal line? No, she did not make the optimal lineup, so it did not pay off. Yeah, unless she's going to just take Pena down and just control her literally for 5 minutes and also land ground and pound for 25 minutes after making that weight cut, I don't know that she pays it off. I'm not fading her by any means. I'm also probably not playing hardly any Juliana Pena. But yeah, I like Kayla Harrison. I want to see the scales. I am concerned that she may not pay off this salary, but she could also score 130 points at the same time. So it's risky, but that's why we do this.
Yeah, I'm on Kayla Harrison as well. I'll be fading Juliana Pena. Just like I said, it's a matter of how much can you fit in. I'm gonna play her in cash games. Talked about that earlier.
Yep.
We come down to lineup construction. I'm gonna try and get over on Kayla Harrison. If the lineups don't work, maybe I'll make a pivot around. But until the domination station is open and I can start building, I don't have an exact answer. Kayla Harrison smashes. That's a pick. Fade Pena. I want to get over on Harrison. I'll see if I can. Make sure you ask in Discord, ask any questions. Join DFS Army, see the Domination Station Optimizer, our projections and ownership. Link in the description on YouTube. Check that out.
If I made you pick before we get into this main event, and if I get cut off, we're about to get crazy storms in Fort Worth. That's why I'm looking over at the radar here, but we should be done. Who do you think is going to be higher owned? Merab or Kayla?
Who or Kayla?
Merab. I think so too, but I think Kayla is going to have a ton of ownership, and maybe rightfully so, but that leaves some at 9K open.
Maybe O'Malley's so popular. Let's talk about it. Merab Dvalishvili, the champ. Sean O'Malley. I have stopped smoking weed to spend time with my family and cheat on my wife. Oh, sorry. That last part is sorry, O'Malley lovers. Sorry. It's a weird. Okay. Dvalishvili. O'Malley. 2, the rematch. O'Malley gets the rematch after sitting out. Dvalishvili's minus 265. O'Malley is plus 225. Supposedly has rededicated himself to it. I don't know what he was doing before, but sure. Fight goes to decision is minus 250. Your DraftKings salaries, like we talked about, Merab is 9,000. O'Malley is 7,200. Monk gets the rematch. Who you got?
I mean, I'll try to keep my bias out of this because I freaking absolutely love Merab Dvalishvili. He's probably my favorite fighter. And no, I didn't just jump on the bandwagon, you assholes. I'm an old man. I've loved him for a long, long time.
You love him a long time.
I love him a long time is what I was saying.
Frozen lake, smashing his head.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's the guy.
Yep. Before his hair plugs. Yeah, you didn't even know he had hair plugs. In fact, he's the only guy with hair plugs that I will actually back. Usually I say if you get hair plugs, you're not confident, but this dude probably lost his hair from jumping into the ice head first. So yeah, I could just rattle off how great the stats of Merab are, because they are. I've also heard that O'Malley, you know, like you said, you hinted at, stopped smoking weed, stopped going on social media, and stopped gaming. But then I also heard he's training with Demetrius Johnson, who all that dude does is game and get on social media. So I'm not really sure. Also, I don't know if you know this, he's smaller than Merab Dvalishvili as well. So Merab got the infinite cardio hack that he's got going on. Unless he gets caught like Aljo, I don't really see how he loses this fight. He's also probably the greatest DraftKings scorer of all time. In 5-round fights, I think it's something like 140 points per win. 5-round bantamweight, 141 per win. His lowest is 119. His highest is 167. So yeah, this dude is just fantastic everywhere. When he wins 124, finish wins 163, decision wins 121, which is, you know, just an average 50% over the bantamweight average there. Sean O'Malley, I mean, he might have scored 18 points in that fight. Sorry, 19.2 in 5 rounds. Didn't do, I mean, he lands 6.7 strikes a minute. He landed 1.88 against Merab, 0 takedowns, not 1 second of control time. And that was about, he only threw 4% leg kicks. So a very poor game plan from Sean O'Malley, who I guess was hurt, and that's fine. But also apparently the sphere, the lights were too bright and the screen was confusing, and 18 other excuses as to why he lost to the best in the world. Not sure why this rematch is happening, but I'm here for another Merab beatdown. So yeah, give me Merab all 5 rounds. And yeah, I think he wins pretty handily. I love him in all formats.
The way O'Malley wins is he lands, I mean, he obviously is a great striker. When he lands something, he catches Merab and finally hurts him. I mean, Merab has been hurt before. We've seen the clip of the Marlon Moraes fight, you know, floating around. He can be hit. He's been hit. It's just, I think it's a low percentage outcome. Merab most likely wrestle fucks him, scores a lot of points, maybe finishes if O'Malley gets defeated and Merab can find a submission. Probably not, though. Merab really just controls you, wrestle fucks you, pity pat strikes you, takes you down again. It's probably what's going to happen here. Is O'Malley live? Sure. Do I think he's going to be over-owned for what that actual percentage is? Yes. Another one, I'm going to look at the ownership. I think he's going to get around 30%, and I'm going to go, no thanks. He might get 40%. Like, he's that popular.
Yeah.
I'll be underweight to O'Malley, over on Merab. Could take a lot to get over on Merab, but that's how I'm going to approach it. Cash games, I don't think the stack is a must. Is it viable? Sure. I wouldn't talk you out of it, but I don't think it's a must on this card. There's some couple other options that I like. But I think most people are going to stack. I just probably a contrarian take there.
No, yeah, I agree. I'm not stacking. Like I just said, he scored 0.77 points per minute in 25 minutes against Merab. Lastly, Dvalishvili is the most expensive he's ever been. He was 9K against Stamen, 89 against Moraes. And then it's all underdog, basically 7K, 77, 7K, like the disrespect on Merab Dvalishvili. I cannot wait for this one. Unfortunately, if he loses, we better see a third one. They better not skip over him, but I don't think that's going to happen. So
no, I think they would skip over him and make I think they make O'Malley Umar probably, or Sandhagen.
Dude, O'Malley Sandhagen would be such a better. Yeah,
they do O'Malley Sandhagen. They absolutely do. I don't know. Yeah, brain fart.
Then what do they do? Run Merab back, or if Patchy wins, let him fight Patchy and just get fucking dominate.
It really depends what Patchy does.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, we broke down all 13 fights for this card, I believe. I think it's 13.
Mm-hmm.
Broke them all down for DraftKings, but don't go anywhere. We're not done yet. Got to give you a kill shot, an under-owned play that can help you win a GPP. Monk called out Alice Ardeline, the OnlyFans ass shaker last week. He got back on it. I got to try and catch up. Was a hot few weeks. I think I missed 2 in a row now, so I'm not liking life there. Going to bounce back here in a second. Before we do that, though, hit the like button. Share with your friends. Follow Monk Maddox. Monk, M-M-A-T-I-C-S. Monk
yes, sir.
Maddox. I am at Sniper Wins. Give us some follows. Make sure you join DFS Army. And that being said, we don't have to do it at the end. Monk, who's your kill shot this week?
Who's the fight that's not on here? Oh, I see it now. Okay, I have a question. My first pick is Vicente Luque. Is that kill shot worthy? It's like it's there. I don't know that he's going to be very high owned.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
I was going to say, if you weren't, I was going to go crazy and just pick Choinski. But yeah.
That's mine. I'm going Chonk.
Nice. Yeah, Chonk. Give me I'm glad. That makes me happy. Give me Vicente Luque. I love Chonk this week, man.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm also on Chonk on short notice. Hopefully exposing Markel Mederos.
Yes.
All right, guys. For Monk, I am Sniper. If you didn't already, please hit that like button. Get in the DFS Army Discord. Ask us any questions. UFC 316 all wrapped up. Are we back next week? We got a week off. Sometimes
we got Buckley and Usman next week, I think.
That's next week. I gotta go.
I believe so. But I know what we don't have is an Apex card in the near future. So if you're an Apex hater,
that's right. Yep.
Now's the time.
We are not off until July 4th. We are looking. The schedule is next week. We got Usman Buckley. The week after, we got Hill Roundtree from Baku, Azerbaijan. That's going to be wild. I can't wait for that fight.
Yeah, there's going to be some crazy matchups in that one.
I can't wait for the scenes in Azerbaijan. If you don't know and you're like, what the fuck is having a card there? That place is MMA fucking bananas.
Yeah,
they are
dude.
Insane people. It is phenomenal to watch. And then we got 317 Topuria versus Oliveira for International Fight Week, I believe. By the way, that is not the fight that should be happening. But
who do you think it should be?
I digress. For the 155-pound title.
Oh yeah, right. No, yeah.
I can't believe Makhachev fucking vacated. Let me just make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. I have an answer in my head, but I don't want to say something and get it clipped and sound real fucking stupid here. So at 215 or at 155, I wasn't even close.
That's not even a weight.
We have Sarukian, Oliveira, Gaethje, Holloway, Poirier, Hooker, Gamrot, Pimblett, Dariush Moicano. And you get the coming up of Topuria against Chucky Olives. I know they hate Sarukian.
Even Patty, throw Patty in, right? Throw him in.
I would have. I mean, he's down at 8. I don't. Gamrot just moved up ahead of him. Hooker, no. Poirier's wrapping up.
Mm-hmm. Holloway's in no man's land.
No man land. Gaethje,
Yeah.
I get why they did it, but skipping over Sarukian, I haven't heard, unless Sarukian was hurt or said no to a fight.
I think he said no to a fight, wasn't it?
Then I guess that's why, but I don't know. Oliveira again?
Yeah.
Who cares? I just don't care. And there's so many Du Bronx lovers, and that's why he's got it. And
rightfully so.
God, that means we got robbed of. You know what fight I want to see? I want to see Patty and Oliveira.
Ooh.
I want to see those two psychos in there.
Maybe if Patty will sit out, if Oliveira doesn't get murdered, which is a possibility. I think Patty sit out for another 3-4 months and you make that match. I love that.
I mean, that's the fight. I would have loved. I mean, if Armin said no, I guess you can't do it, obviously. But Topuria versus Armin, and then Oliveira Pimblett as an eliminator on the same card. Like,
dude, I love that.
And charge me $100, and I'd probably be like, here you go.
Yeah.
This pay-per-view fee is not so bad. Like on one card, be great.
For sure. Oh, that'd be amazing.
But UFC matchmakers, you want to give me a call?
Exactly.
Slide in my DMs. Let me know what's up. All right, we digress. We broke down all the fights. This is what we do. Talk about after we go off the air, guys. We just talk fights. But thank you guys for joining us. We got a few weeks in a row back, as I had mentioned. We will see you next time. Helmets up. See you in the DFS Army Discord.